Hello and welcome back to the Spotlight Games podcast for episode 156. Today, don't bet on any new Last of Us other than the show. We've been playing Split Fiction. Death Stranding 2 has a release date, and the award-winning studio behind Disco Elysium has announced their next game. Joining me this week on the Spotlight Games podcast, like he always does, my sweet dumpster boy, Cayman Darty. Cayman, how you doing?
Patrick, we are in for a treat this evening.
Yeah?
Yeah, let me tell you. We're in for a treat this evening. You know why?
Why?
Because an absolute madman showed up to a movie festival in Texas and then single-handedly shook up the entire fantasy critic race with some belligerent nonsense.
God.
And then he announced something called a Magellan Hands Man's Man.
Yep. That's exactly right. And I couldn't be more thrilled. No white flag above my door is feeling good.
God.
It's going to be spicy, I think.
It's going to be spicy. We're going to talk about it. Also joining me, the father of Magellan's Hands Man's, the gamer worth tickling, GWT Maury. Maury, how you doing?
Brother, I'm good. So are we just done with the grandson worth topping? Is that just out of
No, absolutely not.
Never.
I was so happy. I was so happy for like 3 milliseconds.
Absolutely not. I was just choosing peace.
Yeah.
But know that violence comes again.
God damn it. I hate when violence comes again. Patrick, man, I'm doing well. I'm so excited. There's so many exciting topics to talk about this week. And it feels like the last couple weeks, whenever we've been on a show, whether it was drop in, drop out, or even Spotlight, it's been a little fucking slow. So I'm excited to jump into some exciting stuff today.
Well, we do have a lot of video game stuff to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games podcast, where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight Games Pod, or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod, just like Coal Mines, Cognitive Clips, and Drupal all are. Thanks for being here, y'all. Be like them. Follow us on Twitch so that you're notified when we go live, so you can be part of the conversation. Spotlight Games streams are back again tomorrow night. Rose and I are going to be playing Split Fiction, and not the beginning either. The other night we played the first few hours off stream. We're picking up to let the hogs out on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. If you know, you know. But yeah, we're going to play some Split Fiction tomorrow night about 8 p.m. Eastern time. So join us. We're going to have some fun. And then also, that doesn't end it here for this week of content in our umbrella of friends. Drop in, drop out. Going to be this Thursday, as it always is, around 8:30 Eastern time. And I'm hosting. We're playing a little game this week. We're going to be playing some games and talking about the rest of the year. I'm concocting a fun thing that I'm going to reveal more in the Discord on Thursday. And then the second topic is going to be talking about, the rest of the year. What games are coming out? What are we excited about? What are we trepidatious about? Maybe we can sprinkle in some fantasy critic conversations. Who's to say? But it'll be a fun one. And then, go dropitdropoutpod.com. All the other things that we're doing. But that episode is going to be this Thursday. And then finally, join the Discord. We have a fun little Discord where we discuss what we're playing and generally goof off together about video games. So if that sounds like something you like, click the link in the description of our video. Click it in the bio of our socials. And here's the thing. I need to update this and say join the drop in, drop out Discord. Because here, look, let's be honest. We're all friends here. The Spotlight Games Discord is kind of dead, but it's because the drop in, drop out Discord is popping every single day. We got a great group of folks in there. It is sometimes I got to mute my phone because we're having so many good conversations and I'm like, I should be doing my job. Join the drop in, drop out Discord. I need to update those links in the description of the video so that you go there and not to the Spotlight Games Discord. Rest in peace. Forever and always, my sweet, sweet prince. We like to start our episodes here at Spotlight Games with what we've been playing, and today is no different. And I've been playing Split Fiction. I know Maury's been playing Split Fiction. And I know the Dumpster Boy has been playing Split Fiction. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's talk about some Split Fiction, my dogs. How are we feeling about this game? Cayman, I want to start with you.
Okay. Split Fiction, it absolutely fucking rips. This is a straight up Game of the Year contender. And I think this is a very interesting situation that like Hazelight is getting the respect now where like people are acknowledging it in real time that their games should be a Game of the Year contender, unlike It Takes Two, that just like no one understood why it was there in the first place outside of me. Then the game wins Game of the Year. Look, these games absolutely fuck, and Split Fiction is no different. This is one of the most interesting video games I think I've played in a very long time. And I'm always shocked when I play a Hazelight game and I'm like, man, I've never experienced something like this before. They fucking did it again. I mean, all of It Takes Two felt like that. And somehow this feels even bigger and more, I think, than It Takes Two. And that game I fucking love. So it's a very fascinating film. About 3 hours in, we're just finished the second side story.
Cool.
And so if you know where the hogs are at, we just finished that. So once that, if you're out there in the audience or on this podcast and you haven't completed the second side story yet, when you do, shoot me a message. You'll understand why this is my Game of the Year once you see what happens. So the hype is real. This is just an absolutely fucking amazing game, guys.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm standing in front of the portal to take you to the second side mission. So we played just about the same amount. You just 30 more minutes than me probably. But yeah, I'm having a great time with it. Playing with Rose on the couch. I think it is a huge step up from It Takes Two for me. Famously, It Takes Two in a lot of ways just never clicked for me the way it clicked for a lot of people, especially the Game of the Year voters of 2021. I liked it. I just, it wasn't transcendent to me. And this game is closer to that than It Takes Two was for sure. I still have like little gripes with it, but it's the kind of thing where I just need to kind of check my baggage at the door because from a gameplay perspective, this game is so impressive. The things that I yearn for in this game is let's maybe tweak the writing a bit. Maybe let's have some of the dialogue not feel as hokey as that kind of.
You played A Way Out.
I that's the one of theirs I've never played. That's the only one I've never played.
It is like the complete opposite.
It is.
Jeb, you'll understand. Sorry. Please continue.
No. That's good to know because I've played all their other games except A Way Out. That's the only one I've never got to.
Okay, well, I officially volunteer myself for Drop and Drop Out. We're gonna play A Way Out together on
Great.
Sunday.
I would love that.
Yeah,
so good.
It's exceptional.
Because that one's really short too.
That itch.
It's shorter than It Takes Two and Split Fiction. I think it's closer to the 8-hour mark. Is that about right, Cayman?
I would say 6 to 8 hours.
Word. Okay, I was thinking it was like
friend of the show, Bennett and I beat it over the course of a weekend together, just hanging out on the couch.
Nice.
Getting drunk. So,
I know that if you were drunk at that part of A Way Out, I know that you were both geeking. You know what part I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa,
when they go down on each other, when they 69 each other.
Dude, yes. That's my favorite fucking part of the game. Yeah. Dude, so for starters, I'm right where you guys are at. I'm with Cayman. I just beat the second side story. Holy shit. I love that Cayman loved it. For me, that was a lot. Like, that was a lot. I wasn't ready for that at all. Yeah, You
weren't ready to let the hogs out.
No, I could have left it. Like, I could have left it there. Like, that could have been left on the cutting room floor, and I wouldn't have been offended. Like, I don't know, Joseph Harris. I don't know that needed to be there, but I thought it was insane, and it was very much something he would do. I've enjoyed the time with it. I'm not as high as everybody else is. I think I'm closer to where Patrick is on some of the hokey dialogue. I think that's hard for me, but the moments where this game has the what the fuck moments are so fucking good. Like, there's one part where you're on some sort of a vehicle and someone's driving the vehicle and the other person has to do something else with a phone. And it's the funniest thing that I've seen in years in a game. Like, it was so good. I'm laughing. Me and Jordan played it on Drop In, Drop Out. And then there's also that moment where I'm not going to say too much else, but Tron, right? and fucking 360s and backflips and shooting, and you're like, what the hell? Like, the what the fuck moments in this game are so good that even when I kind of get a little down in the hokey dialogue moments, or maybe even just the moment to moment platforming, which maybe doesn't always speak to me, those what the fuck moments are so good. So I'm excited to continue playing and to keep coming back. But yeah, I've enjoyed my time so far. I'm right where you guys are at with it.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing for me where, like, you know, from the jump, there are certain story beats that I just automatically, I will be shocked if I'm wrong on. But it's the kind of thing where it's not outstaying its welcome at the very least. We're like,
Yeah.
we'll get, you know, we'll do a 40-minute segment of all sorts of platforming and combat and figuring out, like, I don't really know what I should be doing to help you get through this obstacle here. And then we'll get, you know, 2 minutes of them checking in on, you know, we got to go find the glitch or whatever. And then we're right back into the action and a new crazy new idea that they've come up with. So yeah, really excited to play a little bit more on stream tomorrow night. Any other Split Fiction thoughts before we move on?
Yes, I want to blow your guys' mind for a second with a
Please.
theory here.
Come on.
So Joseph Fares has been very clear that this game was designed and based off of his two daughters.
Yes.
He's been like very clear about that. And if you go back and think about it, especially if you take into consideration like A Way Out, the way that I think each of their games is presented for a very specific type of audience that he's intending. So
Yeah.
A Way Out is a gritty crime story and it's presented as such. And those
Yes.
fans will enjoy that. It Takes Two was made for like late millennials that are like, you know, we're still playing video games and we're all married now. And like, so that dialogue and what was going on like feels like that should be for us. But then you think about this game, which is made for like 13 to 15-year-old kids.
Sure.
That writing is that type of writing that you would expect or want from that particular type of thing. So I don't necessarily disagree that the writing is hokey, but in a weird way, I'm kind of like, I don't think it was meant to not be.
Sure.
Totally.
Because
And it does have
vibe
that
is
YA
supposed
feel
be.
to it.
Right. And
Totally.
it's supposed to have that. And so I'm kind of like, yeah, if it's not, you know, the Last of Us level intense writing, then like that would be fucking weird for a game.
That's
like this,
sure.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's all about a vibe, but I don't disagree. But yes, final thoughts is I think I don't disagree with anything either of you have said.
Yeah.
Just a thing to chew on, maybe.
Sure.
I
and
just
agree.
hope at some point Mio tells Zoe that she's walking on some mighty thin ice. If that line
Yeah.
happens, I'll be very, very pleased. A couple other quick updates for me. I've been putting a lot more time into 2 Point Museum. I can't remember if I talked about it on this show. I know I talked about it on Drop In, Drop Out. But you know, if you know 2 Point, it's great. If you don't know 2 Point, it's basically Roller Coaster Tycoon in the modern era, but like for a museum. Really fun. Rose and I have been playing it. It's also been the kind of game where the other night Rose pulled it up because she's been playing a lot more than me. She's like, oh, let me, you know, I was like, oh, show me like what progress has been made. And I was like, oh, I am so overwhelmed. There's so many new things. All of a sudden there's 3 museums instead of just 1. But then I had a really fun time just like watching her play for like an hour and a half and starting to slowly learn all the new mechanics that I had missed and that kind of thing. So having a good time with that. And I'm weirdly came in obsessed with Persona 5 Royal right now.
Okay, fantastic.
Regrettably on the Steam Deck, and I say regrettably because I wish that it was on the Portal right now instead of the Steam Deck, but
it's still portable.
It is still portable, and so I'm having a good time with it. And because I never finished Royal, I only ever finished the original. So I'm finally getting to new content that I hadn't played before. But it's been the like I'm watching a show. Let me skip some dialogue that I remember what this beat was. Let me go through Memento. So I'm having a really good time. More, are you playing anything else? I forgot to check before we went live.
No, I mean literally like I played that hour of Split Fiction, and the rest of my week has just been utter chaos. Which is amazing because I'm unemployed. So somehow I stay busy, which is awesome. But no, I've really not played anything else. But something that I just got in the chat from Jake Twitchin is he writes, who up spotlighting their games right now? And I just cannot fucking deal with this shit.
When you can't see my hands, I'm spotlighting my games right now.
Oh yeah.
Please know that. Cayman, how about you? I know you got some dumpster dives ready for us.
Got some dumpster dives. So we'll start with Kill the Crows.
Ooh.
So I played this on stream on Sunday for the Dumpster Boys dumpster dives, which I think it can kind of officially say to the chat is that in the audience at large that we're locking in 3 to 5 on Sundays.
Let's go.
We're doing a big. I'm trying to do a big push for affiliate status before the end of March. So if you don't currently follow the Dumpster Boy, it's the Dumpster Boy STC. Go and watch the Kill the Crows video because it's just me screaming into the abyss for 2 hours. This game is brutally fucking hard, like a nightmare level difficulty.
Wow.
And it's a roguelite of sorts where you, by completing certain challenges in these runs, you will unlock perks that are better than what you currently have. So you supposed to feel that level of progression. And then, you just keep doing runs. Basically, you're just trying to kill the crows. I guess it took me 2 hours to kill the first boss. And my thing is in a game like this, any roguelite, I need to feel like I'm making some sort of progression at certain intervals for that dopamine to continue to drip. This game doesn't have a system in place where you get rewards for getting to a certain point, like Hades or Vampire Survivors does. So you're not getting any rewards. So you have no RPG element to get just naturally better through trial and error. So that, you can kind of force your way through to get to that better stuff. This game does not have that. So you just have to be good enough with what you have to beat certain challenges that are very difficult, like just beating a boss to unlock. And then I didn't feel like necessarily what you were getting, the rewards wise that you were getting were impactful enough. Sure, the skill where you can get a tarot card as a passive where you get 1 extra life because it's 1-hit kill. If you get hit once, your run's done.
That's so crazy, dude.
So it's very Hotline Miami in that sense. And the thing is this game is for some type of people. This game was not a game for the Dumpster Boy.
No.
I think it's a solid 3 out of 5 golden shovels. I think there's improvements that can be made. It's $5.99 as well. So if you want to just give it a shot and see, you can play it on the Switch or the PC. I played it on the PC. So that is that. Now, this game that I'm about to bring up is a dumpster dive. This is my 138th platinum.
Ooh.
And this game is one of the best fucking boomer shooters I've ever played. And one of the best horror games that no one's ever heard of. It's called Forgive Me, Father. It is a eldritch horror, cosmic horror, Cthulhu horror boomer shooter that is in a comic book aesthetic. So it's like the cell shaded comic book you'd think from Borderlands, but it's a boomer shooter that throws a curveball at you that there's straight up jump scares. You will be locked into very tight corridors.
This looks awesome.
And because the mechanic is that you don't take a lot of damage, but you can't take a lot of damage and things can kill you pretty quickly. So you have to be really cautious with how you play, while also that chaotic, frenetic, action that you get from a boomer shooter. So you'll go from moments where you're creeping through a cargo ship, and then all of a sudden you'll bust out and have an entire arena of monsters fly around doing skills with crazy weapons that have tentacles and pustules growing out of. It is wild. I would recommend this to horror fans, and I would recommend this to first-person shooter fans. I picked it up for $10 on sale on PlayStation. I don't think it's more than $15, and the sequel just dropped on Steam. So check out Forgive Me, Father. I think it's by a Nordic studio, from what I can tell. Really, really, really cool game that I am super fucking high on. And this is a bona fide, straight-up dumpster dive. What you want from it. An incredible soundtrack that's super metal, old school Doom soundtrack. It's just I can talk all day and wax poetic about this game. Just go buy a copy, play it. It's really fucking good, and it plays great on the Portal. So
it reminds me of what my brain remembers that old PS2 GameCube game 13 to be. Do you remember XIII? Do anybody remember this game?
No.
I'm just now learning. Apparently, there was a remake 4 years ago.
It was really bad. Yeah,
that's a bummer because I remember liking this game at the time, but I bet it does not hold up just from the time period.
Sure. Something that I thought when I started seeing like the story elements of how they were approaching Forgive Me Father was the first thing. I mean, it looks exactly like those old Infamous cutscenes, the comic book art style. Like, dude, it's copied and pasted, and I got giddy because I love the way that Infamous did that. Yeah.
I think it's like I honestly think that the artwork reminds me a lot of like weird and Weird and Terrible Tales or Weird Tales of the Terrible. These like old 40s, 50s pulp, like horror pulp novels that you get like little paperbacks of them. Which you say, and I think the other thing's really cool too is a lot of the story they do the chapter bookend storytelling like a normal boomer shooter, but you can pick up like notes and artifacts and stuff while you're going through. They tell you like things that are happening while you're going through this like North New England town that's been overrun by tentacle people and shit. So it is just like straight up. Like I would say if you really want to get a game that's just gonna tickle your fancy, this fucking game is great.
Hell yeah, no, you've sold me on that one. That one looks really good.
Yeah.
When are we gonna get a boomer shooter where we shoot boomers?
That, you know what? Maybe real life soon.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe real life shoot is so fucking crazy.
Oh god. Coal Mines asks, "What's the next dumpster to be dove?" Dumpster.
Ooh, so that's a really good question. I want to do a boomer shooter on stream. So we did have a couple options. We had a lot of technical difficulties as well. I'm really thinking about potentially popping up and doing my first through the capture card. So playing something on the PlayStation 5.
Nice.
And so I got a bunch of dumpster dives, maybe Anomaly Agent. That game, if you haven't seen that, looks really cool. It's like a side-scrolling cyberpunk kind of game that's like a little wild. But I also have been dilly-dallying with the idea of jumping in and doing something even more stupid and doing like maybe on the PC and playing some shit like Blood or Hexen. Nice. Like going back into like a real 90s boomer shooter. So not really even a dumpster dive, I suppose, at that point, but
not for this week. What do you think about doing like the old Resident Evil remake, the Resident Evil 1 remake?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's a fun one. Yeah. There's a game that was sent to me. Someone gifted it to me on Steam, which I guess you I didn't know you could do that. That's a thing that you can do. So look, if you're out in the audience and you have a dumpster dive you want me to play and you don't think I'll play it, just send me a copy. I'll do it.
There you go.
The game, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I don't know if Lucas is in the chat right now. But the game is played by blinking. So you live the life of a person, and every time you blink, the scene changes.
I know what this is. I know
before
what this
my eyes, before
your
eyes.
Yes,
before your eyes.
So he was like, it's the wildest thing. It's like $5. He was like, I don't even think it was $5, like a few bucks. And he was like, this is the wildest game I've ever played. So like that might be, but my one concern is I don't know if I can blink.
Yeah.
So it's like I might have to wear an eye patch to do it. If it works with an eye patch, it might. So we might have an eye patch me on stream.
Wow.
Playing this game. So Jake Trisha says Before Your Eyes is in my top 20 games of all time. Look, that might be so, and it fits technically the criteria of a dumpster dive. So you know what? Might give it a shot.
It's been in my Play Next folder on Steam for like over 2 years now. Wow. I just haven't gotten around to it. So, but hearing that it's in his top 20 games, maybe that means I don't wait another 2 years.
Yeah.
Who's to say? To say? Boys, what do we say we get into some news?
Love some news.
I would love to. Just quickly, just letting Cayman know. Forgive Me Father has been purchased and is currently downloading. You sold me. You sold me.
We love to see it, brother.
Love this game.
God, I'm excited.
Jake says, or it means you explicitly wait at least 2 more years. Now, maybe that's something. All right. First news story of the day is a bit of a bummer, but I have questions. Don't expect more. The Last of Us. Naughty Dog's president has cast doubt on the future of its Last of Us game franchise. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. While Neil Druckmann has previously said that there could be a third Last of Us game, as he thinks there's more story to tell, he has now suggested that might not be the case. Sorry, my mouse got stuck. I was waiting for this question, Druckmann said, when Variety raised the prospect of a third game during a recent interview. I guess the only thing I would say is don't bet on there being more of Last of Us. This could be it, end quote. Druckmann said in April 2021 that a story outline had been written for a potential third game in the series, but that it wasn't currently being developed. And he seemingly hinted at plans for a third Last of Us game in January 2023, when he told the Hollywood Reporter, quote, "I think there's more story to tell," end quote. Then last February, Druckmann confirmed that he had a concept for a third game in mind, and that he thought there would be one more chapter to the story. Speaking in Grounded 2, a documentary detailing the development of The Last of Us Part 2, which, by the way, is very good if you haven't seen it, Druckmann said that he had wondered for years about a potential third game, but never could think of something that excited him until now. Quote, "I don't have a story, but I do have a concept that, to me, is as exciting as one, as exciting as two, is its own thing, yet has this through line for all three. So it does feel like there's probably one more chapter of this story," end quote. So, we're getting more Last of Us Season 2 in a couple weeks. I've graciously joined, Kayla and Jerica have graciously allowed me to join the cast of Clickerbait starting March 24th, Monday. It's going to be taking the JK Games slot for the duration of season 2 of The Last of Us. Very, very excited for that. But I don't know. I have questions here. So here's my thinking. If you guys will allow me, let me pack a lunch. Let me paint a picture and get your thoughts on something. So he says, don't expect more The Last of Us Part 2. Or just The Last of Us, excuse me. Friend of the show, Coal Mines, in our Discord shared more of that in the intergalactic setting. News from that saying that they've apparently been working on that since 2020. So that puts that game at about 5 years development so far, roughly 4.5, 5 years. We would think it could very well be that this intergalactic could be next year, could be 2027 at the latest. For this, maybe not at the latest, it could be 2030 at the latest. But for the sake of this, 7 years feels like a decent amount of time to get a video game out, right? So then the question becomes, is Intergalactic a franchise? Or is it a one-off? Famously, Naughty Dog loves a franchise. I would be shocked if we don't get 2 Intergalactics at the very least.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, if you're going to do, if Intergalactic is a franchise, you don't then take a 7-year break or 8-year break to do Intergalactic 2. So that would mean Intergalactic is after that, right? In theory. So let's put that at 2035. Then, if we think about it, so we haven't had any Last of Us since 2035, but we've had the show. And so if we put a pin in 2035 as maybe the next time we see a game, 2025, we're getting season 2. They've already said that they're going to go seasons 3 or 4 for the second game. So 2027 is season 3, 2029, 2030 is season 4-ish, because it's like 2 years and a quarter since last season. So assuming maybe fall or like late summer 2027, fall 2029, if they get on that exact same timeline each time. So then, right, there's 6 years after the show is over. But then it's like Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, Miles Luna, they can't just stick around for 6 years. No. So I guess all of that to say, I'm here to ask the question, do we think that they're just saying, you know what? We have 2 Game of the Year winners with The Last of Us 1 and 2. We're really excited about this new franchise. Let's just focus on Intergalactic, quit while we're ahead, get the rest of the show out, and maybe we revisit Last of Us way down the line, but don't worry about it for TV. Because I feel like if you do the first 2 games as a show, you do the third game as a show. But we can't get that 7 years after the fact of season 2 ending, right? So big ramble session there, but like, where are you guys at on this? Do we think that Last of Us is kind of done, or do we think that this is just him trying to keep reporters at bay for a bit?
I love this question. I'm going to open by saying Days Gone is a better zombie game than The Last of Us.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
That is a hot take that I have, but I'm not here to address that. Do I think that Neil Druckmann is lying to us, or do I think he's telling the truth? I think he's telling the truth. I personally do. I think that for a long time, like there was a huge pressure to do things within trilogies. And if you had a second game, you were going to make a third game. But I think the most recent example of like a Sony IP that was a duology instead of a trilogy was the God of War Norse saga. They comfortably were able to end at Ragnarok, and they were like, we don't need a third game. I think he might be telling the truth. I think that what you say about the show is even more interesting because theoretically, right, season 3 is going to cover, or sorry, season 2 is going to cover part 2, and so is season 3. So is there even a season 4 that's coming?
Well, so they've said at the moment they expect to go 4 seasons with the show, but it could end up being 3. But that would just be the second game. So then it's like, okay, do they go the Game of Thrones route where they just tell more story after the fact? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's my concern.
Dumpster Boy, where are you at?
So, I mean, okay, so Jake's in the chat. Jake's like, historically, Sony has liked to sacrifice its cash cows, sarcasm, or he said something in normal Jakeism, So
he said Sony loves killing cash cows. This is sarcasm. There will be many more Last of Us as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't think that he's correct. I don't think that he's wrong, but I don't think you guys are right either.
And that's our show, folks. Thank you so much.
That's it. You know what? That's a very neutral. I'm very Sweden here. I think what's going to happen is the way that Uncharted 3 ends is like sunset moment for that series.
Uncharted 4?
No, Uncharted 3.
Uncharted 3. Okay, I just want to make
Uncharted 3 kind of ends in a way that you're like, cool. Elena and Drake have made out. This is it. They're home sweet home. That's going to be that. Last of Us comes out and it's like, okay, this is the new series from Naughty Dog. Like Uncharted is done. The Last of Us is going to go. And then we were all sitting there at E3 and then we hear the theme song and we all are like, oh my fucking God, we're getting another game. And it's like, you can't get that moment if you say, yeah, we're having another game coming out in 6 months, you fucking nerds.
Sure.
Now, I don't think that we're going to be in a moment. I don't think it's going to come in the next 6 years. I think Intergalactic probably drops next year. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see game number 3 in that next slot. And then Intergalactic 2 is what's going to follow after, because that's exactly what they did with The Last of Us.
Do you think... Sorry, I keep going if you have more. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I think there's like a logical reasoning there to be like, they've done it before, and Sony doesn't really give two shits about their franchises. I disagree with Jake on that one. Let's be honest. Where's the fucking Sly Cooper games, you bitches?
Where's Killzone? Where's Infamous? Come on.
But I mean, you do make a good point. They didn't release one. They released 2 Uncharted games between The Last of Us 1 and 2. However, that was also a different time in terms of development. I feel like then you could get a game the size of A Thief's End and it not take, because it was 2013 was The Last of Us. Then they had Blue Point pump out the Nathan Drake collection in 2015, and then they released Uncharted A Thief's End in 2016, and also The Lost Legacy in 2017. So I'm like, I wonder if there's space for a Lost Legacy length Last of Us game in between Intergalactic 1 and 2, potentially.
Sure, but like, it's not who's excited about that. Of course people are excited about that, but people want to know, like, what happens next with the characters we love? Like, what happens with Dina and Ellie and whatever else? I mean, after that, I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't even use Dina and Ellie. There were rumors for a while that they were going to use Joel's brother, Tommy. You know what I mean? Possibly. But, like, I don't know. Like, my thought, this is something that they talked about actually on Kind of Funny, which I thought was super interesting, was the possibility of Sony basically going to Naughty Dog and saying, hey, we know this is your franchise. We know that this is your intellectual property. And we know that maybe you want to move on, but we're not ready to move on. So somebody else is going to make a game in the Last of Us universe. I mean, there have always been rumblings and rumors that maybe somebody was working on an Uncharted game with Nathan Drake's daughter, that maybe Sony would put that out to another studio to work on, right? Like Naughty Dog, like they're powering forward, right? People, even when they were done with Uncharted, I don't think fans wanted them to be done with Uncharted. Every person I know that loves Uncharted is like, why don't we get a game with Nathan Drake's daughter? Why don't we do something else? But Naughty Dog's done. They're ready to move on. And so maybe The Last of Us Part 3 does come out. But at some point, Naughty Dog is going to make the objective decision to say, we're done with The Last of Us as a franchise. And I think that at that point, there is a chance that Sony gets a little more hands-on than they are now. And maybe they aren't so friendly and kind. And they're like, hey, we're glad you're done. We're not done making this fucking money, baby. Get the fuck on. So I really think there's a chance. I do.
I don't know that I feel like
Yeah.
that argument in my mind works for every franchise other than The Last of Us.
Interesting.
And because I feel like Uncharted, I mean, Naughty Dog has said like we're done with Uncharted. And I feel like there is going to be more Uncharted, even though Naughty Dog is done with it. I feel like Last of Us is on a different echelon in terms of like what Naughty Dog feels about it as an outsider, because like Uncharted has a 45 on Metacritic. Its film adaptation.
Yeah.
Its TV adaptation is being lauded as like one of the greatest HBO shows of all time. Granted, only one season. They can ruin it at any given moment.
Sure.
But I don't know. I would be surprised. But then again, it's like, to your point, to Jake's point, to Kayla in the chat, welcome in, Kayla. She's talking about like there's a lot more story to tell in a lot of different ways, whether it's Ellie and Joel or other folks. Sony wants to get paid. They're $1 billion company. They want money.
Yeah.
So like I could see them being like, hey guys, we're in charge here. You go do Intergalactic. It sounds like you have a great idea. It's going to be awesome, but we still need more. I mean, I could see it. I just would be surprised if that were to happen, unless Neil Druckmann goes to Hollywood and leaves Naughty Dog behind.
Sure.
Potentially.
Sure. Yeah.
Let me ruin all of this for you.
Please.
I'm excited.
I got my depressed crystal ball. Okay. The economy is about to crash.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, not looking good.
No, we're fucked.
So that's not a crystal ball moment. I think literally everyone knows that. The crystal ball moment is, what are things that end up being shook up the most during a recession? And it's luxury things. And what is something that's already suffering because of just the way things have been going anyway? And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what if the way that the video game industry shakes out is those smaller games, those like Lost Legacy type games, you can pump that one out every 2 years, becomes more of a normal thing because we can't have 7-year long development cycles.
Yeah.
So we end up getting a lot of The Last of Us, but they are all, Lost Legacy sized and they're all $100. Like,
I'm not playing that for $100. I'm not playing Lost Legacy.
I mean, look, I've already predicted the future once when Microsoft bought Activision.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did I just predict something even worse?
I think
Maybe.
you did. I think
Don't
you did.
also don't forget.
I don't think you want to bet against me right now.
I don't.
Don't forget, you also predicted PlayStation buying Bungie.
Oh fuck! I did do that, didn't I?
Don't
Man,
forget.
I did do that.
I'm on some other some old shit.
So yeah, I'm so fascinated to see where they go from here, because there's also a really interesting interview that, if you're in the Discord, has been shared in the Discord with Neil and some gentleman, I don't know who he is, but they're talking about Intergalactic and how much time has gone into like building the lore of that universe, which is like, oh, unless that game somehow is a massive failure, which it won't be because Naughty Dog doesn't miss, they're not moving away from that anytime soon. It sounds like they're building a world in Intergalactic. So I don't know. I mean, maybe like to your point, you made the joke at the top, Maury, which was some people might put you on trial for it, saying Days Gone is the better zombie game. Maybe they can give something to Ben for The Last of Us. Maybe. I don't know.
I'd bust. Oh my God. You couldn't stop me. Like, you couldn't stop me if they let Ben hang out in The Last of Us, like that universe. Yeah. I think they'd kill it. I think they'd do a great job.
Speaking of such, just want to throw this out there, but we're getting a Days Gone like remaster that looks like more than just a little bit of elbow grease went into like the uplift, the same way like Horizon was.
Really?
So like, yeah. So
I thought it looked the same. That might just be me. I might be bugging. Go ahead. I don't want to.
No, I mean the original game looks good, but like if you see a side by side comparison, like it is noticeably different.
Sure.
Which makes me wonder if like maybe Sony isn't still willing to kick some stuff around the bin. Maybe Sony goes, hey, this engine still functions well enough that we could potentially still utilize this.
Yeah.
I mean, these corporations are big enough and smart enough to know that things probably aren't going or looking good, and they're looking to scrap together as much cash as possible. So maybe.
Yeah, and they did say, even though it is a port, they did add 15 more lines of dialogue of Deacon St. John calling him Booze Man. So,
Booze man.
come on, Booze Man.
Don't do it, Booze brother.
More, you said you were going to bust. I know you're going to bust when we go to our next story. Zaum has announced their new game. This is Chris Scullion at VGC. By the way, unofficially, this is a VGC podcast. They're the best news source in video games right now, so I just go to them because they have it all. But Chris Scullion writes, the next game from the studio that published Disco Elysium has been revealed. Zaum Studio has revealed its next game, currently known by the name Project C4, which it describes as a, quote, new mind-warping espionage RPG that blends player introspection, deep character-driven dialogue, and high-stakes encounters steered by dice rolls, end quote. According to a press release, the game's world is, quote, rife with shadowy characters who help move the pieces for competing geopolitical powers in a game of concealed conflict. End quote. Players are tasked with completing a desperate assignment, which could see them losing their life or, much worse, being exposed for what they really are. Players take control of an operant who serves a, quote, questionable global power and has taken part in a vicious clandestine struggle for truth and influence, end quote. According to the studio, Project C4 will let players take psychoactive substances to alter their character's mind, saying, quote, players must steel themselves with whatever comfort they can in order to survive the violent canvas of the real. End quote. While Zaum's most notable release was Disco Elysium, it's unlikely that many of the Disco Elysium team will be getting involved with this new project, given conflicts between the company and its former employees in recent years, most notably the string of explosive allegations made in late 2022 by former Disco Elysium developers and the owners of the studio that had them fired. There's a lot more to that story on VGC, but that might be some stuff that Maury brings in when I give him the floor to say, Maury, what are you thinking about a new Zaum game?
Right. I've got my disco mug. I'm going to take a sip of my water real quick. I poured just a little bit in here so that I could have this moment. Oh, man, what an honor to be here. What an opportunity. No, I just want to open by saying the response from the Disco Elysium fan base today has been fucking terrible. Okay.
Really?
Oh, it's been awful. So for the record, I want to speak to everybody right now. Hi, you know me as GWT Maury on the internet, right? Well, you probably don't know that I'm a Disco Elysium sicko. Do you really not know how much of a sicko I am? Let me show you. I have Robert Kurvitz's seminal work from 2013, the novelization, The Sacred and Terrible Air, a book that only sold 1,000 copies, the world that Elysium is based off of. I am a Disco Elysium sicko. To begin, I am so excited to see that that Zaum is working on something other than Disco, that they took the gamble, that they took the risk, that they jumped in and they said, you know what? People are going to be happy with nothing we do in the Elysium universe. Let's do something else. Great choice, great decision moving forward. And I'm happy to see that they have a project that they're passionate enough to announce to us. If you don't know, Zaum has had multiple canceled projects in the last however many years because they have not been able to figure out how to work in the world of Elysium without, that's right, you guessed it, Robert fucking Kurvitz, because Robert Kurvitz is the orator. He is the creator. He is the god of this universe. He is the person who made this. So for them to go to somewhere else, some other world, some other universe, some other game, brilliant. The response from this community has been shitty. Today, I've watched people call the people that work at Zaum centipedes, greedy fucks, pieces of shit. Let me say a couple things. If you're mad at the executives that pushed Kurvitz and Rostov and Helen out of the company, I get it. I agree. I don't like greedy execs or corporate fucks either. That is not the majority of people working on this game. The majority of people that are working on this game are passionate developers that want to bring something to gamers that excites them. If you're mad about corporate greedy executive fucks, I have news for you. Whenever Robert Kurvitz and Rostov went over to Red Info Ltd under NetEase, they went under other corporate greedy executive fucks. Wherever you go in this industry, there are going to be greedy fucks. Relax. It's all okay. Let's give these devs a chance. Sorry, I've been all over the map. We went in 15 directions. My God, I'm excited. My God, I'm excited.
Look, I don't know half of what you just said, but I'm fired up.
Oh, no.
But I'm fired up. I'm ready to get my fucking picket signs say down with Zaum if that's what you want me to do, or I can say free Robert Kerb. I don't know what you want me to do, but I'm ready.
God.
What happened to Robert Kurtvitz? What is he up to now?
Okay, so Kurvitz, who was the lead writer of Elysium, right? He built that world over 15 to 20 years and then, put it under this game, Disco Elysium. He is now at a place called Red Info Ltd, which is a game developer that is under NetEase, the publisher that makes Marvel Rivals.
Right.
He's there with the lead artist of Disco Elysium, Alexander Rostov. He's also there with Helen Hinpierre, who was one of the lead writers on the game. Kar Kender went on to another studio called Longdo, and they're making a game called Hope Town, which is a Disco Elysium-like. He was a producer at Zaum. And then Argo Tulik, who is one of the other lead writers on Disco Elysium, is at another company called Summer Eternal, which is also making a disco-like. So yeah, the whole original team of creatives is like gone. So that's where Robert's at.
Do you guys remember the paradox of the axe, where if you chip your axe head and you replace it, and then 2 weeks later you break the handle and you replace it, is it the same axe that you started with?
Totally.
The classic ship of Theseus.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, I don't like that term because that is way too pretentious to come out of my mouth. I'm known for 2 things, Patrick: hot dogs and dumpster dives, brother.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
I'm a bag of shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know anything about Disco Elysium. I just was curious. I just wanted to make that reference.
Sure.
We love
it. We love to see it. We do have a question from the chat. Wow, the 25 people in the Disco Elysium fan base are unhappy from Jake to a
God damn you,
Jake. So fucking funny.
He's not that fucking funny. No.
Disco Elysium is really good. You should play
it. He can't read, Patrick. Why would?
Oh, sorry. I was talking to Dumpster Boy.
Oh, good.
I know that Jake will never play that game.
Yeah, he can't read. No, I do want to say that yes, the team at Zaum now is a completely different team. The people that are leading this on a director-like position, like the creative minds behind this game, are totally different than the minds that would have fleshed out and made Disco Elysium. Yes, but these are passionate people in the industry, and I want to give them a shot. I want to give them a chance. They're not Kurvitz, so thank God they're not working in the world of Elysium anymore. I am ecstatic that they're going to go do their own thing. So I don't know. Cayman, you're right. It is not the same axe. It is not the same ship. My hope is that they learned enough from the original ship. They learned enough from the original axe, and they were passionate enough about that product to make something as innovative and interesting as Disco was for me. I don't think it's going to hit what Kurvitz did, but I think it can be goddamn close. I think it can be pretty damn good. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure now that is kind of what is expected with a studio like Zaum, I'm sure they're going to try their hardest to replicate that. And so then the question will be, can it be genuine? Can it come across as not feeling pandery and that kind of thing? So excited to see that there's no sort of date at all on this. It's more than likely that this game has been in its early stages of development, because later in the article it goes on to say that they've had 3 different projects canceled.
Yeah,
a Disco follow-up, like a Disco DLC edition, another thing. So this game is probably pretty early in development, but cool otherwise to hear that they're working on something. Well, it does seem like this is just becoming the can we get Maury to bust show, because our third news story before we go into this week's spotlight is the Death Stranding 2 release date has been revealed alongside a 10-minute trailer. It was a real nut bust, a purple nut for one GWT Maury.
10 minutes?
It was
a 10-minute
so
trailer.
It
was a 10-minute
so
trailer.
good.
You know how
yet
much
again,
I watched for that?
How much?
2 seconds of that GIF that Jericho sent of the dude sucking air with his tongue.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Maury, I could read a story from VGC, but it's basically the release date and things about it. So why don't you tell me about your thoughts on this?
Wait, can we just watch the 10-minute trailer?
We
could. No, let me answer that. No, I don't want to do that actually.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Can you give me a super cut that just skips all the nonsense like Magella Hands Mans?
Yeah, I got you.
And give me more Wasp Hands Mans. That's
Okay.
who I stands fans for.
No, I can't. I'm gonna have a stroke. I'm actually gonna have a fucking stroke on stream.
Who is this Metal Gear Solid motherfucker?
Guess what? He's literally Snake.
He's literally Snake. They're not even trying to hide it.
No. He's Snake. So
Yeah,
get this. Right?
I'll just cut ahead to that.
This actor that you're seeing right there.
Right.
some years back in 2020, Hideo Kojima said, if anyone could play Snake in live action, I would choose this actor. And then he cast this actor in Death Stranding 2 to do this fucking shit.
And it's Emilio Estevez. Can you believe it?
Bro, it's the fact that he puts the bandana on. Look at this shit. Oh, this shit is so hard. No, like this is actually like enough to make me get there. Like this is enough to get me all the way. Oh my God. Yo. Oh, dude.
But what? So a 10-minute trailer. We got the date. It's June 26th. What are you thinking, Maury?
Okay, for starters, I just have to say, like the parallels here, like what they're doing with the imagery is so interesting. It's this guy who looks exactly like Solid Snake that Hideo said that he would cast as Snake, walking out of a graveyard with fireworks going off in the background. It's literally a celebration that Snake's back. That's all I'm gonna say. What do I
amazing!
think?
Sure,
dude, it's so crazy. Like no one peeps the details. You got to look at the details with Kojima. I'm excited. We talked a little bit earlier. I think we'll talk about it now. Do I think Kojima is a narcissist? Yes. Do I think Kojima thinks he's talking about American politics? I think he thinks he is. Do I think he does like a great job of that? No. Do I think the worlds that he makes are insane? Oh my God, yeah. The amount of moments in this trailer where I'm just baffled. Like I'm overwhelmed by the beauty of these environments, by the beauty of what he's doing with the skybox, right? It's amazing. Like it is so riveting.
Why are these the same cars from GTA 4 though?
What do you mean?
I mean, look at that shit. I saw those cars all over GTA 4 in like 2010.
How do you know that those are the exact car models from GTA 4?
They just look fucking busted.
What the fuck? I mean, yeah, we're in an apocalypse.
Well,
the cars
sure,
are gonna
but like
look busted.
But why isn't it like 8K busted?
I mean, I don't know. It's probably that the YouTube video isn't doing it justice.
I can't believe you convinced me to draft this fucking piece of shit.
Bro, for the record, I wanted to. By the way, this is important that we say this now. I'm fucked. Like my fantasy critic is
What the fuck was that?
What?
He's got a puppet dick.
Yes. No. Well, it's not a dick. It's a puppet that hangs off his
little
belt.
Alan Wake 2 puppet?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, hold on a second. When do we all like wake up and we're like,
no, never. I'll sleep
what
forever.
the like when you guys are like when you guys are like I don't think you understand that Split Fiction has hokey language. And then you fucking are telling me that this guy's got a puppet hanging off his dick, and you're just gonna be like,
no,
but that's fucking running, bro. Fuck you.
No.
Fuck you.
Oh my God. No, Cayman, he's not hanging off his dick. He's on the right side of his waistband. It just looks like that in the shot. No,
your dick doesn't hang to the right.
No, I'm a left leaner, but that's just. But I'm also like that in my politics, so it gets it done. Yeah. But anyway, no, I mean, dude, like this game, like the way it looks, it's great. The moments where he like just takes advantage of the skybox of the world, it looks amazing. They talked about it at South by Southwest. It's going to be much more action packed than the first game, so less UPS mailman shit. Look at that. For those of you that aren't like that are listening right now to the podcast. Like there was just like a giant moon behind a mountain that was like taking up the whole screen. And there was like some like celestial galactic nebula bullshit in the sky. Like I don't even know how to express how amazing this game looks. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. Patrick, what do you think? I'm not the only one here that's a Kojima fan.
Sure, yeah. I'm a big Kojima fan. Death Stranding famously did not work for me, but I am going to give it another shot. I've heard, friends of the show, like the Dan Good show, be like, Death Stranding in a post-COVID world hits a little different. So I'm interested in giving it one more shot, mostly so that I can get to Doll Man in Death Stranding 2, and it makes sense. But this is about as good as Death Stranding 2 could look to me. Yeah. Like this, I was gonna play it when it came out regardless because I'm a little freak, but I was, concerned that it would be a similar kind of vibe. And it wasn't even the lack of action for me, to be honest. It was just the like general nothing made sense to me. So I don't know that that's going to be fixed here, but it will be at least nice to know that there's going to be a little bit more action in this game. We got George Miller insteed of Guillermo del Toro as Tarman.
Oh,
it's a bit concerning seeing Troy Baker look like this in a video game. He just looks a little too real to me. Like that shot especially is like really uncanny valley. But I'm very interested. And like the fact that it's June is so shocking to me.
Dude.
I would have expected this as like what I was expecting was if we had a 2025 date, it would be like November and then be pushed to 2026. I don't think you push June to 2026.
No, you don't. I mean, and the pre-orders go up like in a week, like it's wraps. I got to be honest. When you originally picked it and I counterpicked you, I was so proud of myself. I was like, dude, this is easy points, whatever, rah, rah, rah. I'm so fucked. I thought this game was going to like get announced for like December. Like I thought it was going to be one of those like once a year you have one game that's announced for December because it misses Game Awards. But I felt like Kojima was bold enough to do that. Like he doesn't need to beat Game Awards. Like he'll still be in the conversation next year. No, that dude's putting this game out in June. And typically Kojima doesn't give something a date unless it's ready. I don't think it's getting pushed. I think we're going to see it this year in June. And I'm excited. Cayman, I have to pick your brain a little bit because you've really laid in to my friend Kojima-san, and I took it personal. Did you not play Death Stranding?
I'm sorry. Did I not? Brother, there's no playing Death Stranding.
Oh my God.
It's not a real game.
God, dude.
Got him.
He got me. That's that's our show, folks.
No, I never played Death Stranding, and I have played all of the. I played every single Metal Gear Solid game to some degree. So it's not like I haven't played, a Kojima game, and I'm just like a dickhead. I mean, I am a dickhead, but I have played the games. There's a lot that happens that I just look at, and I'm like, yep, the same for me.
Wow.
Look, one Chanbara, that's totally right up my alley. Some bikini girls chopping up some zombies.
Bazoing.
You know what? If Kojima wanted to do that, maybe I'd give it a listen. I think that it's a very tough sell to me specifically to play this type of game. Not the walking sim part, that's fine. But it's just like that. I just don't have the patience for that bullshit. I need to know what's going on in the game I'm playing. Yeah. And if it's not a JRPG, that's a really tough sell for me.
Here's what I'll say. The part that was the most frustrating in the first game for me wasn't even in terms of its gameplay.
How far did you get?
I beat it.
You beat DS1.
I beat DS1, yeah.
Wow.
The combat I felt was really what's the word I'm trying to not hard is not the word. It was really obtuse. Like I felt like the game, and like some people were like, oh yeah, it was meant to be difficult, whatever. It's like it felt like it didn't have good design in terms of the actual combat. So some of the bits in this trailer make me more excited because like, oh, this looks more designed to actually feel good. Whereas I feel like the last game, you weren't supposed to be shooting a gun in the game, and you weren't supposed to be like that. You know what I mean? But then there would be these times that it would come fucking so many people would be coming at you, and it's like I can't get out of this because I don't have like real ways to fight back other than running, and I'm fucking falling over because I got a bunch of different shit, and
the baby's crying and wailing, goo goo gaga,
right. Exactly,
Lori's screaming at you. It's rough. No, I get it. No, and you're right. I mean, the first game was not designed for combat, so I'm excited to see what improvements they make in DS2 come June.
Yeah, me too. And I'm as the publisher of the Drop In Drop Out Fantasy Critic League that owns this game. This was my like third or fourth pick. If this doesn't get me 17 points, I'm upset.
Wow. Okay, so question, and this is a legit question. I really want an honest answer. What is the realistic open critic score?
90.
Patrick, I would say, like, let me look at the last one. I feel like the last one was like low 80s. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Stranding, Metacritic. Let's see, last one 82. And that's the original, not the director's cut. I'm feeling like 83-5 is what I would think is more realistic for this game, because I do expect this to hit. I would be so shocked if it's below an 82.
I'd be baffled.
But yeah. I don't know that it'll make it all the way to the 90 range, but maybe. I mean, here's what I'll say. If the vision can be clearer and more digestible, this game has more of a shot to be a 90 than an 80.
Do we think a sequel is going to be clearer or more digestible?
Unlikely.
stick with me. I don't necessarily think that the story is going to suddenly become more digestible. I just don't think that's how Kojima like writes his stuff. I think he wants it to be a little bit wonky. And for the record, I do think there's a coherent story in Death Stranding. I don't think you understand it till you get to the end, but I think there is a coherent story, and I think it's awesome. I think what will feel coherent, I think what will feel more complete is the gameplay loop. That first game, you're walking for 30 minutes to get a package somewhere. Like, that's the game. And that's a little overwhelming. And the combat parts, like Patrick was saying, they feel stiff. It feels like it wasn't the intention of the game.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things in that game that do feel a little bit incoherent. And I'm willing to admit that as someone who like loves Death Stranding. But I think that because of everything they learned from the first game, I think that because they were like, damn, there's really not enough action here. And people need to do something. They need to shoot some people every 4 hours that they're delivering packages. Like, we can't wait 10 hours to have you shooting people. I really do think that this game is going to do like bonkers numbers. Like, I have a gut feeling.
Sure. I mean, if they can learn from that gameplay loop, because think of it this way. This game still got an 82, even though so much of the game felt busted.
Yes. So if Kojima fixes all that, we know there's a Kojima curve. We know that. If someone else made that game, it wouldn't have gotten an 82. With the Kojima curve and with some improvements, with a better gameplay loop, with more combat that feels more fluid, right? I totally think, and the kaiju fights that you're gonna have with fucking Wasp Hands Man, Magellan Man, right? Like, all that shit, it's gonna wet somebody's whistle that's reviewing this game. Wasp Hands Man. This game is gonna get a 90, and I put my soul on it. And by the way, I've been wrong about all my predictions this year. So.
I would love for you to be right about that one, though. That's the one. If you can be right about one, give me that one.
Because then I lose 3 points.
Here's the thing. Your ass is grass either way. I don't think this. I don't know. Part of me just looks at all of this and is like, I could see it getting a 90. Realistically, I could see a 90 or above. Is one of those scenarios that's like, because this game is made for such a very distinct audience, nothing else matters. And so I can see that. But I also see a world in which I will never play this game because I don't have the patience to watch the 2-hour-long deep dive to try to catch me up, because I know for a fact he is not going to do any recap and just going to throw you right into the nonsense. And that's totally fine. That is for that certain type of people. I play other types of games that are not for other types of people too. So, which totally understand. Maury, I'm happy for you. I think that's the moral of the story. Patrick, I hope this game gets a terrible Metacritic score because fuck you.
I expect
and you know what? Just want to do shout out to Nolan 1102, Nolan H 1102 in the chat, who popped up in here today. He was on Drop In, Drop Out in chat and Drop In, Drop Out, and we were chatting it up with him last week, and he makes it into chat today on Spotlight. I think organically.
We love to see it.
That's tough.
And honestly, I'm very excited. Nolan, thank you for being here, buddy. I know we gave you a hard time last week, but I am happy you're here.
Hell yeah. Thanks for being here, Nolan. What do we say we start to wind things down with this week's news spotlight? If this is your first time, like Nolan, we usually end our show with some quick headlines of other news stories that happened around the gaming world this week that we didn't have an entire conversation about. So let's get right into that. First up, Bam Margera. Anybody heard of him?
Oh, did he finally die?
No, he didn't die, but he's not returning to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 for some reason.
Not shocked.
Not shocked. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra could be released this Christmas, according to one of the game's main voice actors. So Patrick says we'll see it in 2026. A game that we will see this year, it sounds like, RoboCop Rogue City came in 2023 Game of the Year, is getting a sequel this summer.
Wow. Is it a true sequel, or is this like an extended? Because I've thought it was like just an expansion of it. You get to play as Peter Weller pre-RoboCop transformation, which, holy fuck, I am beyond excited for this. This we will be doing live on stream.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It seems like it's a sequel, but maybe it's like a sequel and a half, potentially.
Brother, if it's got another platinum trophy list,
it's going to have another platinum trophy. Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. For all of you Jackbox enjoyers out there, Their library is coming to smart TVs later this year. That's the good news. The bad news, it's going to come with a monthly subscription fee. So
wow.
No, sir.
in order to have ad-free Jackbox, you're going to have to pay a
that
monthly
sucks.
subscription fee.
That's fucking nuts.
Couple new games coming to the Game Boy Online library for Switch. We're getting Mario's Picross and the original Donkey Kong for Game Boy. That's fun. Speaking of Split Fiction from earlier in the show, they crossed a massive sales milestone in just 48 hours with over 4 million players. You love to see it. We are getting some more Hazelight Studios games. That's for goddamn sure. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle's PS5 date allegedly has been leaked, looking like April 17th for that game.
Wow.
Cameron, do you think you'll pick that up since you didn't know the Indiana Jones game from last year?
Yeah, I'll probably play it. Honestly, I probably won't play it on PlayStation.
Oh, sure.
Now that I've got the PC, that's been one of those where I need to like cash in and just like start up. I've got a free trial for like to reboot up Game Pass. Just waiting for the right time to do it because I was talking with Jake. I was like, it's gonna be smart to do it where I can like knock it out and have like just long enough to like rush through Avowed, Indiana Jones, South of Midnight, and Doom.
Yeah.
As quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Which would be the smart decision. And also the fact that, and I am so excited about this, I can use my DualSense because it is a better controller to play Xbox games. And let's be honest, if you were to play an Xbox game, do not play with their controllers because they are trash. The DualSense is the superior controller. I don't care what you try to sell me on that. Anyone, that is the one thing that I don't even think in the console wars, Xbox players will be like, right. They'll just be like, no. The DualSense is a better controller. You've won there, but everything else we do is better. That's fine if you want to have that argument, but at least acknowledge the DualSense is the better controller.
Something I don't think that I've said on this channel. I'm going to be playing Assassin's Creed Shadows early. I think I'm allowed to say that. Code provided by Ubisoft as part of their creators program. And I'm having to play it on Xbox. And I
Really?
am disappointed because I just hate that controller. I could play it on PC and use like a DualSense that way, but I'm concerned because I want to be streaming it like a bunch. I feel like it's probably smarter for me to have it go through the Xbox instead of playing the PC while I'm streaming.
Why were you limited to Xbox or PC?
Well, so because I'm a good husband, Rose is playing 2 Point Museum on the PlayStation. If I'm going to be streaming 8 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows, I want her to have the PlayStation 5.
Good man.
Good boy.
Yeah, I tried to have that on the Xbox, but they fucked me. And I had to refund the copy because I played it night one with her on the Xbox, and then the next morning it wouldn't open. Dude. It just like wouldn't work. So I had to get a refund. And thankfully they gave it to me. But yeah, I don't know. I keep going back and forth. Like, should I get it on PC and just hope that the stream can keep up? It's just Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be such a big, chuggy game with that kind of graphics. So I don't know. Last few, and then we'll send you back on your way. For those that are here live, I'm talking to you, Kayla, Coal Mines, Cognitive, Sedina. Welcome in, Sedina. Silent Hill is having a transmission. Konami's having a Silent Hill transmission tomorrow to talk more about Silent Hill F. So if you're interested in Silent Hill, keep your eyes peeled for that.
When is that's going to be like 2 a.m, right?
It is very early. I don't remember the exact time, but it is very early because
I think it's like 3 p.m. Japan or 3 p.m. in Japan when they're doing it.
Yeah, and now I think now that daylight savings has happened, I believe they are 13 hours ahead. So that makes sense if it was 3 the next day.
It's something wild.
Yeah. Lego execs are saying that they're going to start bringing video game development in-house. So it sounds like I might be the first to say TT Games probably next on the chopping block for WB, which is a bummer.
Such a fucking bummer, man.
Yeah.
And then finally came in. I don't know if you saw this today. High Score Weekly shared this in our Discord. Katamari Damacy Live is coming to Apple Arcade on April 13th. A mobile, built from the ground up for mobile Katamari game coming to iPhones.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that news.
So yeah, that's going to be April 13th. And that brings us to the end of our show. Can I just say, what a lovely show today. All sorts of fun conversation, a pop in chat. I wouldn't do it with anybody else but you two right here, right now on twitch.tv/SpotlightGamesPod. And I'm sure that the audience agrees with you. Maury, thanks for being here. as always,
dude.
the
what a
residency
joy.
continues.
God, I'm getting my hours in. I'm getting my reps in.
Let's go. Tell the folks at home where they can follow you.
Yeah, thank you to both Patrick and Cayman for always having me. It's always a really great time. I yapped a lot today, so thank you for indulging me, and thank you to the chat for indulging me as well. You can find me at dropindropoutpod.com. That's where you can find all information about everything that we're doing. So go ahead, hit dropindropoutpod.com, throw it into the URL, and you can find where we're all at and what we're doing.
Ba-boom, ba-boom. Cayman. Tell the
Well,
folks.
shit. Now I feel like if I don't say exactly what Maury said, then I'm I'm self-promoting.
No.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. I am now doing dumpster dives live on Sunday.
We'll do it live.
3 to 5 Eastern time. So if you want to see those dumpster dives, if you want to recommend one and want me to play it live, guess what? I'll be doing it on Sunday, 3 to 5 at Twitch. It's the Dumpster Boy STC at Twitch or something. I think it's there. Also, they finally decided to free me from my cage, and they gave me a channel within the drop-in, drop-out server. So if you have dumpster dive recommendations, drop them there. I have been working on a Forgive Me, Father dumpster dive review for so long. I might not even do it. I might just do a video and put out a video of it instead.
That's awesome.
I don't know where that would live, but I think I might do it. So... you know what? Fuck it. Who knows? We do it live. Yeah, and follow us on Discord if you're not already, which presumably everyone here should be. So yeah. Jake is playing Uncharted 2. So
Thieves and nope, that's Among Thieves. I knew Thieves was in there somewhere.
My personal favorite Uncharted. So stick around for that.
We'll be back next Tuesday for another episode of the podcast right here, 8 p.m. Eastern time. But also tomorrow night, myself and Rose will be playing Split Fiction. We're going to be starting about 2 hours in. That's going to be also about 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we will see you then. And then Thursday, twitch.tv/drop-in-drop-out-pod, the next episode of the podcast. Let's pay it forward. Jake was a great little chatter today. Let's go give him some love while he plays Uncharted 2. But thanks for being here. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.